Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. My name's Nick Haltink. I'm a director for the MRD sector at Salesforce, based down in Melbourne. Canadian born, in case you're curious about the accent. But when I say MRD, I mean manufacturing, retail, and distribution. You've come here for a manufacturing keynote. In fact, it's manufacturing and distribution. I can appreciate that there are a great deal of people who consider themselves manufacturers, but really are distributing products manufactured outside of Australia. So hopefully this will speak to all of you. What I'll be speaking to you about is how you can build a connected ecosystem around your customer. As with any good Salesforce presentation at one of our key events, I'd like to share that trust is our number one value. We want to make sure that you're making decisions based off of products we've got available today. Jane, I don't think we're going to be showing anything forward-looking. I'd like to say thank you to all the customers in the audience for investing in us, for taking some time out of your busy days to come join us. We believe in investing in you. That's why we run events like this. Also want to say thank you to our partners who are here. You're a big part of delivering success for our customers. So thank you very much. Today we'll really cover three key areas. I'm going to share with you the point of view of Salesforce for manufacturing and distribution. You'll have an opportunity to meet a Trailblazer, Grant Edhouse, the COO and CFO of TTI. And finally, we'll provide a live solution demo, so you can actually get a touch and feel of what Salesforce looks like for manufacturers and distributors. What I love to see is while we might not be manufacturing a lot in Australia, and core manufacturing might be on its way out, the industry's optimism is still very, very strong. GDP growth is expected to grow a slight clip ahead of what global GDP growth is forecasted for at 3.7%. We're forecasting increased investment in capital, in hiring, to increase capacity at a range of 6 to 10%, so actually ahead of GDP. What I really love to see, and when I moved here from Canada, I witnessed this, is that there are some great multinational brands present here in Australia who actually look at Australia as an innovation hub, Australia as a test bed for products and new services before they bring them out to bigger markets like America or Western Europe, where there's a lot in common between these markets. I've witnessed it with TTI brands who you hear from. I've witnessed it from Renai, a local customer as well. It's also been great to see manufacturers take hold of some of the advances in automation and connectivity. It's really fun to walk the manufacturing floor of Saint-Gobain, a big global business, but doing big things here in Australia, and see their ABB robotics at work. It's also been really cool to walk the warehouse floor at catch.com.au and their Swisslog smart sorting system. It's really cool to see a lot of this stuff come into play here in Australia. There are really three key trends that we see driving the need for a connected digital ecosystem. First is the changing workforce. In the next decade, manufacturers are expecting to lose about 25% of their workforce. For the manufacturers and distributors in the audience, you likely have staff who've been on hand for 20, 30 good years putting hard work into the business. As they depart, you're going to be welcoming millennials into the business. They've got new expectations set by their experiences with Spotify, with Uber, with Netflix. They expect convenience. They expect your business to be values-driven, right? They're flocking to urban centers. So what are we going to do to adapt to that? Secondly, advances in AI and connectivity. There's an opportunity for your business to connect with your customer's customer. And finally, digital transformation. We're not just talking about an incremental upgrade to an ERP system. We're not just talking about a single employee program. We're talking about transformation. It's beyond incremental. And that's done with the customer at the heart of your business and the heart of your decision making. And that's where Salesforce is very strong, because we focus on customer engagement. Now, I think on your way out as you tap, you'll be provided with some content. There's a really great article published by McKinsey from late last year that speaks about some of the changes in manufacturing and distribution and some of the opportunity that local manufacturers and distributors can drive. Whether it's value from acquiring new customers, right? Looking at your marketing programs. The customer today is engaging much earlier than they used to. They're doing their research before they speak to you. What are you doing to connect with those customers on the front end of their buying journey? What are you doing to reduce friction from that journey? Secondly, how are you involved in their selling experience? For those not in the know, the majority of a B2B buyer's decision is based on their selling experience, so their buying experience with your seller. But 53% of their decision, it's not price, it's not just service. Yes, those are the requirements, but they are not the core determinants. Secondly, in service, whether it's a contact center that's not just dealing with your customers, so your retail and your distributor, but servicing your end customer because you are a brand, right? It's really interesting to see manufacturers engage and open up opportunities for aftermarket. The average EBIT for a manufacturer selling new equipment is about 10%. And I know that'll vary company by company. The average EBIT on aftermarket products and services is 25%. So why wouldn't we be chasing that profit? Finally, there's an opportunity to deepen engagement with your customer. And when I say that, I talk about leveraging AI and connectivity to actually create new services and new experiences to engage with your customer's customer. These are all areas that Salesforce can assist your business. Now, really the big thing preventing us from providing a connected experience are siloed platforms. See everything on the slide here? Many familiar back office systems, operational systems, a lot to manage for an IT and operations department. Integrating these systems can be highly, highly complex. As a result, we might have fragmented business silos, we might have a broken customer experience. So my ask of you is, what are you doing in your business to unify your people and your systems to deliver a better connected experience? And that's what we'll shift to what customers want today. And when we talk about a connected experience, customers want you to understand their needs. Do you have data on your customer's customer, right? Do you understand the history of your engagements? If I go visit a wholesaler, do you know what our relationship has been for the last 5 years? They want a personalized experience. When I talk personalization, do we segment based on industry and on role when we sell and when we market? Are we set up to do one-to-one marketing at scale across tens of thousands or potentially millions of consumers? Third, again, trust at the center of your relationship with your customer. Can you deliver with transparency? I know with manufacturers distributing through wholesale partners, right, DIFOT is a really big figure that they might call you out on. Are you able to share how you deliver in full, on time, at a credible rate? And can you show that real-time data to your customer? And finally, gone are the days of when our salespeople and our customer-facing staff are order takers. They need to be solution providers. They're not just providing a product. They're not just selling widgets. Now, I think it's really interesting to look at where manufacturing and distribution came from. If we look at what that value chain was, if you're a manufacturer, you distribute to the channel, whether it's a retail partner or it's a wholesale distributor, and then they on-sell to the customer. So they own that relationship, they own that experience. The majority of a manufacturer's time is spent focused on that channel or that retail relationship. Now what's changed is that manufacturers now have an opportunity to deliver a connected experience to the end consumer as well. How are we connecting with our channels and our consumers at the same time to deliver a unified experience? If it's going to be a consistent experience, data and intelligence need to be at the heart of that. Right? And we say manufacturer, but the reality is to your channel partners and to your consumers, you are a brand. You and your channel partners have a responsibility to deliver a brand message for your product and for your services, right? That consistency is delivered along these lines. And there's some examples of the different activities that happen between the relationship between the brand and the channels, your channel partners and your customers, and the brand and the end consumers. Now at Salesforce, we've had great experience in the space. We've seen our customers deliver great success. We're successful because our customers are. Whether it be for discrete manufacturers, whether it be for those in the process manufacturing space, or in automotive. This is part of the Salesforce portfolio. These are all customers who are happy to speak about the success they're having with Salesforce. And with that said, I'd actually love to introduce you to one of our customer Trailblazers to speak about their journey and some of the success that they've had. So I'd like to welcome Grant Headhouse, COO and CFO for TTI, to the stage. So Grant,
sit or stand?
We can sit.
All right.
We can relax.
No worries.
So Grant, for those in the audience who don't know who TTI brands are, do you mind just introducing them to the business?
Yeah, sure. TTI started originally as an OEM manufacturer in China in '85, so our sales first year was 15 million. We're listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Our results are actually for last year released later this month, but the expectation will be around 7 billion in total in sales. So we've had phenomenal growth. During the sort of 2000 to 2010 period, we really acquired brands, and that's where we transitioned from an OEM manufacturer to a brand-led manufacturer. So some of the brands that hopefully you're familiar with is Ryobi, AEG, Milwaukee, Hoover Floor Care Products, Vax. We have a number of other brands. So we've really transformed to a brand-led business. In Australia, I've been with the business for 11 years this month. So we have a lot of new products, and we would have had growth anyway from just the product road we have. So we launched 300 to 400 new products every year. But we've looked at how we actually engage with the customer and the retailer, but also the end user, and how we actually can market that better, have a more personalized experience to drive that or maximize our product road and drive growth through that.
Now, Grant, you've been operating in this space for, we were just chatting earlier, I think it's 21 years now in the power tools market, both industrial and the consumer space. Can you share with the audience maybe some of the trends you were seeing in the market that might have triggered part of this journey?
Yeah, we've seen, I guess, the generational change, which you've seen with millennials coming into industry. So we've had the old 50-year-old guy on the tools who knows everything, and now you've got people turning up and price matching you at an event online. They do a lot of research online, so the path to actually procuring power tools or making a purchasing decision has actually changed a lot. So, and that's been a generational change. So we've had to adapt to that, to understand what that path to purchase is, and how we engage in a digital sense with our end users, rather than just traditional word to mouth or using the retailer relationship to sell our products. So for us, it's about reaching out to the end user to educate them about our products, what services we provide, and then have that conversation and direct the demand for our product back through the retailer. So we've gone beyond the retailer to actually to engage with the people who use our products. Yeah,
and it's been a really fantastic evolution to follow. I mean, we've been working together for 4 years now. Yeah. Really curious to understand what role technology has played in this for the TTI business.
I would probably turn around. I think you've got to get your organization structure correct. And when we started a CX function 3 years ago, that reports directly to the executive level. So we wanted purposely elevated customer experience to a senior level, and so it was visible throughout the business. That helps from a cultural viewpoint. And then it's around the processes. So when you design your processes, you've got to design around the customer and not your internal processes. So we engage with end users for feedback, understanding what their pain points are, what they're prepared to pay for, solving those pain points, and how you engage in it. So we're at the stage now where if we're designing a process and there's no benefit to the end user, the end customer, why do we do it? Mm-hmm. And we've found over the last 3-year journey that the language about customer first has trickled through the entire organization. And that probably wasn't a conscious effort. We didn't have a transformation program. We just kept pushing the fact that the customer comes first. How do we make the customer better? A lot of our vision and mission statements and the brands are around how do we make the Milwaukee, for instance, how do we make the end user's life easier? And so I was putting the customer first. then the technology enables that. So if you don't understand what you're building and your processes around that customer and how to connect it first, and then use the technology to enable that, technology-led solutions aren't going to get you there. Yeah. We use Salesforce, and we've got a lot of clouds, and we've built that over that period of time, and that's given us that one view of the customer. So we have multiple touch points. So we look at, if you call customer service, you get your tools serviced, register warranty, for redemption. They are all opportunities to learn about the customers. And for us, we have 3 customer groups. We have the retailer, we have the B2C or small end user. So that could be someone buying a lawnmower, registering online for extended warranty, or someone who is a tradie who runs their own business. And then we have large end users. So that could be mining, oil and gas, or a construction company. And we have we have a different strategy for those 3 customer segments. So I guess on your slide, talking about connecting to the end user, we've designed our strategy around that and creating demand with the end user, rather than relying on the retailer per se.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see the way you've segmented and identified those 3 different customer groups. It's also challenging to manage across the different brands to make sure you're delivering a different experience by each. I love to hear that it's not just a technology-led and a technology-first decision, but I love to see the planning and the strategy that goes into some of those decision-makings. I've actually got an example of one of the solutions you've rolled out for your customers here. Do you mind just highlighting that for the audience?
Yeah, this is through communities. So this is a warranty registration portal. So we wanted to capture more information about end users and providing an extended warranty if they register through that. That was a 12-week project that went really quite quickly. We're pleased with the rollout. Mm-hmm. We've also extended that to other brands. So we took that and moved into AEG. We'll move into a Milwaukee brand as well. But it's just another touch point where we can get more information about the end users. So for us, it's about the more we understand about them, and we're probably looking from a toolbox. So what tools do you have? We can work out then what kind of what profession you're in, or if you're a DIYer. But it's a more personalized marketing experience, because if we know your tool's 3 years old, we've got a replacement tool coming, we can just send an EDM to you about the new tool rather than just bombarding you with 400 products we might be bringing to market.
Yeah. So, and whether it's via service experiences, post-sale, or it's with the sales team, it's great to see that your teams are super focused on actually adding value to different channel partners by creating some of these new services and engaging with that user. Right. Yep. Ultimately, you're building the brand. You've got some really powerful brands, and it's just amazing to see the way that you're driving growth through that end customer engagement. So I guess that leads me to the last question I'd like to ask. Yep. Milwaukee and your other brands have been growing at high double-digit growth for quite some time now. Right? I know over 10 years yep. of high double-digit growth. I am really curious what it's going to take to get TTI to sustain that growth over the next 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, if you went back a few years ago, we asked ourselves that same question. We look at the product road and we go, okay, we can still keep selling products, but what we've discovered is by going beyond the retailer and understanding the end users, we've discovered more business opportunities, and we can provide tailored solutions. So for us, the market's probably gone from that to that. So, our solutions can cover industrial, DIY, and by engaging with those end users directly, we've uncovered, additional possible revenue streams, growth opportunities. So we're actually pretty confident that we can keep growing for the next 10 years of double-digit growth. But again, 5 years ago, before we started understanding about the customers and having that view, we probably would have been scratching our heads and go, well, we'll give it a good shot. We just don't see a pathway forward. Yeah. So that's enabled that. So we're still pretty confident we can keep the double-digit going for the next 10 years.
Thank you. And to those from TTI in the audience, thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey. It's been a pretty good ride. We look forward to the future together. So with that said, I promised we'd let you touch and feel the Salesforce platform for manufacturers and distributions. I'm going to introduce to you Jane Donahoe, our Principal Solution Engineer, and Tim Finch, her lovely assistant, to guide you through this. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. Hi all, I'm Jane Donahoe. My partner in crime is Timothy Finch. He's a manufacturing enthusiast, or he likes getting dressed up in HazChem. I'm not sure what's going on here. But today we wanted to walk through, and wasn't that interesting listening to TTI's digital transformation journey and how they did it. So this is about their solution. So it's always about your solution and your transformation. So let's start off. So when we talk about Salesforce for manufacturing, we wanted to cover today 3 key areas, and that's in terms of sales, service, and marketing. So when I talk sales, I'm thinking about how do we enrich the relationship that we have with our distributors, with our manufacturers, with our channels? How do we provide them the tools so they can represent our brand or our product or our services as we would want? From a service perspective, how do we provide the service channels that our end customers want to deal with us on? And then look at those additional areas like field service that we could add on. And then finally, how do we bring it all together so that when we're marketing, it's targeted and personalised? Now, when I'm looking at the solution, and again, just to reiterate, this is your solution. So if we talk about digital transformation, what would you do that would impact your end customers the most? Is it sales and insight? Is it that service and self-service? Is it bringing the data that you've got in your back-end ERP systems and bringing that forward into the system of engagement, into your system of interaction? Because let's face it, our ERP solutions are not known as digital transformation solutions. But the data they have in there is gold that we need to mine out. Okay, so what better way to look at Salesforce for manufacturing than do it via a demonstration? So Tim and I, what we want to do is walk you through. Let's look at that service and self-service. So I'm going to tell you a story. It is a story I've made up, so bear with me. It's about Larry Bailey. And Larry Bailey works for Oz Home Builders, large home and land building construction. Now Larry, it's a term I've just heard recently, is a Milwaukee fanboy. Loves Milwaukee, which TTI loves. But yesterday Larry had delivered on site 10 power drills. Now those power drills, there's a problem with the battery. Now I don't know what that problem is, so let's go through the story and find out. But the first thing Larry's going to do is he's going to jump on and he's going to search for Milwaukee, and he's going to go to the site, to the community. He's going to look for knowledge-based articles on the battery. He's going to look at videos. He's going to look at discussions in the group, what others are doing. He's going to try and self-service first every time. In the past, he used to get on the phone and there were a lot of phone calls back and forth and he wasn't too happy about that. Okay, so Larry now, he could get on a call, he could log a case, but he sees there's a chat button, so he's going to move straight into chat. If I see a chat button now, I go to it too because it's that instant response. The chat can be automated. The chat knows Larry, it knows what products he has, it knows about his orders. So imagine this experience now for digital transformation. Which order is it, Larry? What would you like delivered? Where are we at? All of that fits in. Larry's going, I need some battery help. The chatbot says, well, is it about your last order? Larry kind of wants to go through to an agent at this stage, right? You manage that experience for Larry. So we're going to have a question on our most recent order, and now I'm going to introduce you to Tim Service. He's our agent extraordinaire. And Tim works all channels. It doesn't matter if it's come in from the web, from chat, any channel that it's coming through. It's come in from chat and he's opened it up. So Tim has a wealth of information at his fingertips. He sees that full transcript of everything that's gone on with Larry and the chatbot. When he looks at the case, he knows Larry. He knows what cases are open. He knows what orders he's had. He knows what products he's purchased. He knows which knowledge-based articles match those products that he's purchased. So he can manage that conversation well. So bear with me. Larry and Tim, they're going back and forth on chat, and Larry said, we've got a new service and we could send a Milwaukee specialist out to see you on site to get this sorted. Gold, says Larry. I'd love that. So what Tim can do then is he'll create a little work order, so he'll schedule an appointment. Now, the beauty here is this appointment is scheduled automatically, assigned to the field agent that has the right skills, the right tools, and is in the right location. And because it's my story, he's going to find someone that's got the right skills, the right tools, and is in the right location to go and visit Larry. And at the same time, Tim, he's got a good relationship with sales. He's going to just mention the account manager to say, I'm sending someone out to see Larry at Oz Home Builders. All right? That's sales and service working together. That could have been automated, but they've got a nice relationship, so they're going to mention there. All right. Now let's fast forward and let's go out to the mobile. So now I'm Alan Reid, and I'm out. I'm mobile, so I use my mobile. And when I have my mobile, I've got all the information I require. I look at the mobile and I can see my appointment. I can see how far it is to get to Larry and what route I should take. I can see information about Larry, and with one click, I could SMS him, I could email him, I could call him, I could send different appointment times. When Alan goes to see Larry, now we're talking about digital transformation here. In the old world, I'm kind of thinking there were lots of forms, lots of carbon papers. There was a lot of spreadsheets involved. He had to do certain things about health and safety when he got to site. He had to do the site report and get it all signed off, and the back end was probably pretty big. But again, with a click, he can generate the report, get the signature from Larry, and that visit is complete. Now, it turns out that Larry hadn't charged the batteries completely. So we're not going to go into that to embarrass Larry any further. The appointment was still worthwhile because our Milwaukee specialist has been out there, seen the site, and spoke to him about some of the other Milwaukee tools that he could be using. Now, at the same time, there's a lot happening in this story, but it's all happening. So at the same time, our account manager, if we go back to the browser, Jane, remember she got a notification to say that someone was going out to site. Here's a game changer. This is proactive sales, proactive service. Jane isn't on the end of a call from Larry going, what's going on? She's calling him and going, hey, I hear someone's been out to see you and I hear it went splendidly, right? Jane also has her own 360-degree view of the account of Oz Home Builders. Now, I'm not just talking knowing about cases and opportunities and activities and normal account management stuff.
Breakfast is now.
What I'm actually talking about too is all that information from the back end about warranties, about products, about invoices, about orders, all that integrated information we've brought in. And with a click, Jane could have a look at the insights. She just needs to know year-on-year sales. What are the orders that Oz Home Builders has done? In the past, Jane had to go down to the basement to find the BI person that knew how to create that report. And then she waited 3 or 4 days with a few pleas to get that report. And then it was pretty much out of date. So first transformation there. So Jane's pretty happy about that experience. All right, let's bring it all together. All of these data points, all of these interactions, all of that integration is information we know about Larry. So we're not going to send Larry an email about new products till that case is closed, till the work order's been resolved, and then we're going to send him an NPS. And then based on his score, we're going to send him information. So it's targeted and it's personalised, right? So Tim's happy because he could service and he's got the lovely outfit on. Jane was happy because she's got the information from 360 degrees. And Larry is happy as Larry to live up to his name. So, finally, and that was just the transformation for those 3 high levels. Please come and see us. I'm going to move to the next final slide. The final slide. But please come and see us. We've got an industries booth there. So those 3 areas we'd love to talk to you more about on the campground. These are sessions regarding manufacturing. So look at your agendas. If there's any further manufacturing ones that you'd like to see, please do. And if you have scanned in on the way out, you can get a white paper that Nick referred to there. Thank you.